Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family.
Hello there, welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. There's some interesting things happening out out there as I'm starting to lose my voice. Oh, it's early in the day. Too early to lose the voice. But anyway, again, thank you guys for your support on Patreon and Ko-Fi. Couldn't do it without you guys.
We definitely appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Exclusives going up over there multiple times each week. So what do we got going on? We had a boil water advisory issued for DC. It was really for the entirety of DC and Arlington County. Amid concern over cloudiness and algae blooms, this comes on top of yesterday's announcement to look out for events happening today, July 4th. Happy July 4th, everyone. And the FBI's warning, we were talking about all different levels of targets, and obviously infrastructure would be one thing that we would all be concerned about. Energy and basic needs like the water supply being safe. There's been many mentions about targeting the water supply with whatever negative substances or systems impacting the water supply in one way or another. It could be seriously a target. So immediately when you see something like this, you wonder what happened. Why did you have such an algae bloom? Of course, they'll probably equate this to the usual climate change, global warming type thing going on. High temperatures, yes, nutrient levels are high. Some algae blooms could be very harmful. So they say it was elevated turbidity levels in the water supply caused by increases in algae blooms in the Potomac River, so says the Army Corps of Engineers. They've also already said, nope, you're okay. You don't have to boil your water. I hope everybody is using some sort of very, very good water purification. It is a must in these times.
Isn't that sad? That's just where we're at. A couple hundred years ago, you could drink out of any stream, any river, any lake, anything, and it was safe, and it was pure, and it was quenching, and it was clean. And those that are in control, I don't care what side they're on. I don't care if they have white hats, black hats. They're all poisoning this planet, and it's just a sad state.
Well, the control system is absolutely, as everybody's wondering what's going to happen next with the geopolitical. Remember, these statements that have come out of the World Economic Forum, their annual meetings, they're talking about how do we implement carbon taxes on water. It's very possible for them to start integrating systemically into trading carbon pricing mechanisms with water. Water should be free. These people are turds, to put it in simple terms. Water, everything. I mean, like Cindy said, what other living entity on the planet pays taxes, goes through everything that we go through? And what they want to do is, it is economic slavery, and that is in effect. We've really have no difference now than we had in feudal times. There's just been more of an illusion, but this illusion is dissipating. So this is the location, and these are the spaghetti models for Beryl, which has gone past Jamaica now. Again, put your prayers out there for everybody in Jamaica that's trying to perhaps discover the extent of the damage that has happened. It has been weakening. When it goes over the Yucatan Peninsula, somewhere perhaps by Cozumel, Cancun, all the way down to the Belize border, it will weaken more, come out the other side, either as a Cat 1 most likely, or a tropical storm. And then most models are saying it'll start to strengthen again. So, there's not agreement on this. Right now, none of the models are saying it's going to go back to Cat 5 or Cat 4 status. But, hey, anything is a possibility with the augmentation in this world. And this is part of the reality. This right here is a U.S. patent application. Hurricane and Tornado Control Device. This is from 2003, May 8th, 2003. And these, you could find patents so easily. Many of you have seen this. I've done videos where just going through patent applications. Oh boy, there's some fascinating patent ones, like a device to walk through walls. We kid you not. Invisibility, cloaking, yeah, weather control out the wazoo. As Matt Wallace says, oh, there's nothing to see here. It's right there. It looks like they're doing some sort of frequency wave modulation going on. Yeah, we're waking up, guys, and that makes it more dangerous. It really does, because if we're sleepwalking, then they feel more confident. And this is what we've had in those times of peace. When we run into times now where there's a great awakening going, things do get a little bit more turbulent, so hang on tight. There's a swarm here off the Washington coast, and it's a swarm that we should note because the smallest quake is a 4.0. They're all being listed at 10 kilometers depth. They're also listing the strongest as 4.7. So just be aware. Our history over here is not what we've been told. We've done videos. Other people have done good videos too, talking about the island of California, what happened really in 1700 when there was supposedly a 9.0. It was, the Great Cascadian Quake. But was that really the Great Cascadian Quake, or was that the collision of the island of California with the North American plate? When you again look to California itself, California typically gets, I would say, more quakes of various sizes than just about anywhere on the whole planet. The whole planet. Why is it so active? Maybe it's because it's really so recent what has happened here. And we've shared with you guys, this right here, I think, is the junction of Amargosa. Okay, it's a little bit into Nellis. We lived, basically right here, and we found fossilized sponges, we found fossilized coral, we found shells in our yard. Again, it's nothing but sand. There's a massive sand dune here that is enormous, that you probably could sled or ski down and have a good time. Just watch out for the sidewinders. Yeah, this is not what we've been told. Again, Ridgecrest. This is fascinating because, you have this military base, and this is one of the things that they do. When you see these big military centers, where are they hiding? They're hiding, in my opinion, entrances into inner Earth. And these are places that if you were allowed to go exploring, you might find relics that expose everything. This is directly across, if you go east, to the Grand Canyon. And I do think underground, these are connected. And I think you can make your way from here to the Grand Canyon area, and then also over into New Mexico, to where you also have deep underground military bases that have reptilian histories to them, and you might find artifacts that look like they came from either Tibet or Egypt.
When I look in there, I see it's very efficient. These underground caves, these underground roads, they have everything that you could possibly need to survive just under the surface of the earth. Now, when you're in Nevada and you're going on the back roads, the dirt roads, they have these very tall electric lines that seemingly go nowhere, absolutely nowhere. But if you walk up and touch them and listen to them, it's like you can hear they're going underground. It has this huge noise to it, like a vacuum. They are going underground, and these are huge railways. These are huge. I don't know if they're cities per se, but there's definitely a lot going on under there.
Yeah, there's been some unusual activity. Like if we look at 30 days, because these come and go, you'll see that what do we got here? 3.0 in Canada. You can have along the St. Lawrence Riverway, which is right here. quakes, and we do get them. But this is a 3.0. This is a 3.4. This is Henderson, New York, and you see these up closer to Montreal and Ottawa. It's curious, quite a bit of curious quake activity going on. Plainfield Village in Connecticut. Here's Crown Heights, New York, and you see we still have a little bit of activity going on over in this area. There's 13 quakes in the last month in this area where we had so much activity out of the blue. So, I mean, since that whole event started, I don't know how many quakes have been there. Maybe 500 more? It wouldn't surprise me. There's weird things going on the planet. And, our flat earth friends, they do pick up that there's something really big that we're missing. Yeah, most people missing, not you guys. You guys got it. But most people. 5,251 underwater holes mysteriously line California's coast. And we finally know why. Okay, what are you going to sell us now, kids, huh? Well, first surveyed in 1998, the Sur Pockmark Fields stretch along California's central coastline and lie in an area ripe for future wind energy installations. So they're using a fleet of underwater robots to gather mapping data. What have they found? That these shallow holes, which are 1,600 to 5,200 feet below the surface, basically a quarter mile to like a mile-ish down below the surface, they each measure about 500 feet across, and they're each roughly 16 feet deep. Well, that's pretty uniform. That, to me, if I'm thinking, what could cause that, right? Would it be a meteorite breaking up and coming down? Well, if a meteorite's breaking up and coming down, isn't it likely to have all different sizes? Wouldn't you have an assortment of different size holes, impact craters? If it was impact craters, what we see with the Carolina bays in that situation, we do see all sorts of different similar shapes because it's impacts, but at the same time, different size ones. Then, they were saying that they thought this was a methane situation. Of course, global warming going to release a lot of methane. But now they say it's just basically some sort of gravitational erosion effect. What? I don't trust them, and I don't even think they come up with good stories. I really think they think that we're abjectly stupid overall. So the new hypothesis they put forth is just simply gravity. It's gravity. Oh, okay. Again, they're too uniform. And so they thought before methane bubbling up, but nope. Sediment gravity flows from underwater avalanches. Well, when we started looking at this, it's like every time you look at Google Earth, it's like you have these, holy crap, look at that moments. This is what they're talking about. At first, I was looking at a different area a little farther south and saying, what the heck caused this? But look at this pattern here. Now, first off, you see these lines. Look at these lines. What are these lines? Are these some sort of artifact generated by the computer? They're perfectly straight. These are all the pockmarks, by the way. This, as you can see, these. We do see now. This looks like a river, but it's underwater. That is some sort of flow. Obviously, there's been massive, pretty scary cataclysms that have hit this planet. And many people believe that we're going to have a magnetic pole reversal, which may lead to a what we call a crustal displacement event, where the crust shifts suddenly. And it literally is, like the movie 2012 with, mile or 2 mile high tsunamis, etc., etc. We've never seen that, but there are going to be divergent timelines And since everything that we look at is really waiting for consciousness to observe it in order to solidify and take form before our very eyes, and each one of us is having our own unique experience, we've also talked about divergent paths and divergent timelines. And so the thought is, and this is why I used the icon when I first made EEARTS as the backup channel, when they were intent on getting rid of evolutionary, of the Earth splitting in two. And somebody made a great comment, and I think that you're right, when they were talking about the future forecasters looking at 2050 and seeing 26 more years of the same going on up to 2050. And I don't think hardly any of us could conceive, and nobody would want 26 more years of this slow grind going on to 2050. But it depends on what timeline you're looking at. So if you are a remote viewer looking at the timeline that you're currently on, and also where you are from a spiritual perspective, are you seeing a timeline that might not be the timeline that if you are if you are really paying attention to the ascension process and trying to raise your frequency, going to be on at that point in time as our consciousness evolves. So here you see these. The first thing I'm struck with is the lines, the artifacts. This reminds me of a pattern I've seen on a lot of depictions of different solar wheels, if you know what I mean. Again, the NAZIS is used a tilted, twisted swastika, which again is a Hindu symbol, and it's not just a Hindu symbol. It's been used by indigenous people all around the world, and it depicts really the energy of the sun and the solar energy. And this is, as we see, we've gotten quite a bit far off from the initial, question of what these, craters are. Well, I find almost more interesting is what's the ones down here. What are these too? This is almost a straight line. Look at this. There's a lot they've covered up over here. Off the coast of Santa Monica, there was clearly, and we might still have some remnants of it, what looked to be an inner earth opening and a place where you could literally pull a submarine into the inside underneath the surface. So look at these. And Cindy, her impression, I could see her impression here quite clearly. There's a lot of weird stuff here. So, there's these which look to be much bigger, these, whatever they are, impacts. They hit me kind of like impacts. Man, there's so many anomalies off the California coast. See, when you come out here and you look at this really sticks out here. And then we saw like also all sorts of other anomalies. When you go just a little bit off, we start getting into a lot of patterns that we've seen in other places that start to make me think of, wow, what was here? Was there cities here? What did this whole thing go down? And then you got these turret-like things going on. I mean, look at this straight line here. We don't know really what caused that great Cascadian quake. We only got what they say happened, 9.0 or better. So what's this? Just a volcano, building underwater? Yeah, quite possibly. Quite possibly. They almost hit me like turrets. They almost hit me like they're defensive fortifications. And then these curiosities as well. They almost hit me like smaller guns and smaller turrets. Shift your mind over to Star Wars and, one of those battles on one of those planets where you see defensive fortifications. And And look at this grid work too. I mean, is it just, it's nothing? It's all a big nothing burger? So I'm going to let Cindy run with this.
Well, I mean, a lot of impressions came, starting with the one that was in the straight line, that was along the coast, and the little pock marks that were going straight. That's where we started looking. And it's interesting how the impressions that come are so very, very different. But this one came out as weaponry, some type of weaponry, some type of pelting, some type of aim, shoot, fire. And then I was shown, when they have airplanes or helicopters with the guns that just shoot in the straight line. How big was this piece of equipment that made this? I don't know, but it was big. So with this one, I felt weaponry. And if we go over to the other one with the other pockmarks that are just sort of kind of everywhere, this came out as more of a technology, and actually looking at it, understanding that in times past there were technologies, and a lot of the technologies definitely got covered up by the ocean, by some sort of a tilt, by some type of, the sand and the silt and things just cover up things. But I'm feeling like a magnetic type of energy here, like they were using this area to form some sort of energy. That's what came through on that one. As far as the turrets and everything, I keep feeling like those are some type of place where, ships can go in and out. It feels like there's dryness inside of those turrets when we look at the tops of them. It seems like there's an entrance and an exit. And then the little ones, the little pods that are along the line there, I don't know how this could be, but they feel like where you would park something. You would park a ship, or you would park your car, for example. And there have been a lot of, sightings of UFOs underwater, the submersibles, lots and lots and lots and lots and lots. Well, they have to go from somewhere and come from somewhere. There's got to be something. And I don't know why this information is allowed to be seen by other people. But one thing I do know is you really have to get out of the box when you look at this stuff. You have to get out of the box and understand that anything that they throw out there is just, cover up. It's cover up. So you're better off, looking at these things and practicing using your psychic abilities and figuring it out for yourself. You're going to be a lot closer. You're going to make mistranslations, but you're going to be closer doing it on your own than listening to the control species of the planet. They're going to give you what's convenient for them. But I think we all need to use our psychic abilities when we're figuring this out, because they're not going to do us any favors. And keep in mind, there's going to be plenty of times when you're wrong, and it's okay to be wrong, because that gives you the direction which way to go so that you're right. It just takes practice, you guys. We can all do this.
I'm looking at this, and to me, this looks like giant humanoid-shaped bodies underneath there.
Right. Yeah, I mean, we just don't know. It's so odd. Is this a burial ground? You have to explore all of this. It's curious.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it is. Look at all the ridges. Craziness, guys. Craziness out there. But, again, our history is not what they tell us. You think to this, and this is the tomb of Pakal. This is an ancient Mayan ruler. Why does it look like he's aiming something, like he's going to be shooting at somebody and he's flying in a ship? I mean, how else can you see that? Maybe you could see it as other things, but to me, that just looks obvious. It looks like he's taking aim, and again, the wars of the gods, there's legends all around the world talking about this. And this was not that long ago. So, was this part of what we see with the scarring? How about this? This was from 1751. 1751, Joust of Sailors from Pont Notre Dame and Pont au Change. Nicolas Jean-Baptiste Raguenet. What's unusual about this? This is Paris. They're depicting Paris. This is done in 1751. Well, seems like there's water everywhere, but there's another question. There's people on stilts, and unless I'm looking at it wrong, it looks like some of the people are a little bit larger than other people, or is it just me?
I don't know. Somebody, maybe they got their drawing and their measurements wrong, but yeah, they look pretty big to me, these people on boats that are pushing the other people or helping them or something. And then you have the bridges, yet there's houses, and the houses that have turrets that seem to be full of people. And the architecture, if when you look at the numbers, the population numbers, and then you look at what was built and the pictures of certain years, 1700, 1800, how do you get the manpower to build some of these magnificent buildings that are just huge if you're looking at the populations and there's so little people, but such huge buildings? I mean, how does that happen?
So yeah, this is the area today. So where do they all go? I mean, it seems, Paris obviously, it's had world wars, and this is again what happens. World wars they wipe away the history. They are such an important aspect for the control system, because they do wipe away the history. They hide things that, they don't want us knowing. How many people lived in Paris in those days, and the numbers that they give us would be much less than now. But again, I don't think that's accurate. It feels like we've had more people on the planet in the past than we've had perhaps at this time. Again, look to nature for clues and answers. And again, thanks so much for being part of this family. Look forward to your comments and